heal PTSD? Here's a video on how to heal PTSD. Welcome back, and if you don't know me already, my name is Magnolia. I'm a licensed clinical social worker supervisor, a CSAT, a CMAT, clinical mental health nutritionist, lots of things, certified in EMDR. If you want more information, go ahead and look down below. All right, it's been a minute. Just want to say, I got new video equipment, but it isn't working. So I have about 6-7 videos in the queue that I just haven't posted yet. We'll get to it when we get to it. Just trusting in the timing of the universe, right? Okay. So back to our scheduled content for today. Okay, I'm gonna make more in-depth videos about each of these topics. I try to be thorough, but then I figured, like, oh man, there's way more. There's layers upon layers upon layers. But here's a quick overview on how you can support yourself in healing PTSD. And I have an unpopular opinion. I do believe you can heal PTSD. I do believe you can heal most mental health ailments. It's just that it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of dedication. I know that's not the typical perspective. I'm a trauma specialist. I've seen people do it. I've done it. There's a video that I have about what life used to look like for me when I was in the thick of it. I'm trying to keep this brief. If I can remember to attach that video, I will. Okay. Make a note here. And look down for it below. I don't know how to link videos here yet. Maybe I do. I think I did it once. Anyway, okay, here we go. Cool. Never saw myself being a YouTube video person, by the way. Content creator. I was very reluctant to do that. Anyway, okay, cool. In social work, we have 4 prongs to our approach and treatment, right? We have bio, psycho, social, spiritual. And in shamanism and in Native American medicine, we have the 4 directions, northeast, southwest, and essentially they do represent each of those components of the biopsychosocial spiritual wheel. And so yeah, medicine wheel, social work, cool. Okay, so let's start with the bio. With biological, we want to address the biological systems of the person, right? And so really what that boils down to is reducing taking away what doesn't belong and then putting in what should belong. So we work on reducing toxins, and then we work on giving the body what it is that it needs to support itself in healing. And reducing toxins, we want to optimize bodily functions. With that, we want to work on somatic therapies like EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, chiropractic, NET. NET is neuro-emotional technique. We would ideally recommend getting someone into a really good and experienced muscle tester, just because that's going to give you a lot of that nutritional support. And checking for supplements, checking for deficiencies, checking for infections, because the more toxicity that we have in the body, actually, the higher our cortisol levels, just the way that the more toxicity we have in our environments, right? With people, work, whatever, the more toxicity that we have, the more cortisol we tend to have, because it's stressful on the body, on the human system. Okay, so we have the somatic therapies, then we have nutrition. Seek medical advice on anything that I'm giving you here, right? But that said, I'll say, with the nutrition piece, we want to do our best to eat as anti-inflammatory we can. And I'll post more videos on that, because nutrition is a whole piece, right? We want to make sure we're getting enough fats. If we don't have enough fats, our brain isn't going to work optimally. If we're too inflamed, nothing's going to work optimally, especially not the way that we think. We're going to be really anxious. We're going to be really depressed. We want to make sure we have enough proteins, because that helps to energize things. We want to make sure that we have enough carbohydrates, because same, right? But also not too many carbohydrates, because then that causes a lot of stress on the body too, and the kidneys, and we can get diabetes and things like that, or exacerbate diabetes, right? We want to make sure we're getting enough movement. Movement is pivotal for 2 functions. One is exercise. Exercise helps us with lymphatic drainage. It helps to decrease stress, increase your cardiovascular health, and increase your digestion. And those are all separate topics I'll get into. keep an eye out for that. I'll probably call it like Integrative Health Series or so. And I'll make a note on that too. Cool. And then with movement, that also helps us to integrate the psychological and the emotional work that we're doing in psychotherapy. Especially walking, because it's bilateral, right? You're moving your feet, one side of your body, the other side of the body. Whenever we're doing that, we are stimulating both sides of the brain, so the left and the right hemispheres, and they're communicating with each other. We want that because, again, that's how we're going to integrate all this information. Rather than it just being up here and being theoretical, it's going to sink into the body. Yoga is really helpful too, because it can help us with slowing down, with mindfulness. It can be tricky, and if you have a lot of dissociation, I'd recommend going into more of a flow class rather than a yin class. If you're hyper aroused, things like that, frenetic, have a lot of energy, then I would say going to a slower class like a yin class would be more beneficial. Dancing is also really helpful. I like partner dance, right? Like foxtrot, ballroom, swing, salsa, Latin music, country even. It's just partner dance is really helpful. It can be intimidating at first, but it can really help you rewire your attachment systems, especially if you're able to secure building a sense of community there. Very helpful. Nonetheless, though, dancing really helps you to be embodied and be in the body. And if you're into chakras, it really helps you work with your lower chakras, primarily your root and your sacral chakras. But even if you don't believe in chakras, that's okay. It works with your more humanistic side, your more primal sides. We also have sleep. Very important. We want to be able to get 7 to 9 hours as adults, 10 to 14 hours for ages 3 to 18, 16 to 20 hours for ages 0 to 3. And you can look that up, talk to your providers, that's fine. I know that this is what the recommendations tend to be. And so most people do undersleep. And things that get in the way of sleep are blue light, EMF, toxicity, parasites, too much stress, not journaling. If you're really stressing, you can't sleep because you're too stressed. Journaling could be really helpful because it helps unload things off of your mind. And also airway issues. If we're not breathing properly, if we're mouth breathing while we're sleeping, that can also present a huge issue for being able to sleep, and we won't get enough deep sleep. We won't be resting as much as we need to, and it presents a lot of challenges. It could even cause like high blood pressure and different things like that.